welcome back. We are excited to do another podcast and get talking about some new things or maybe even old things that we don't want to carry into this new season, this new year. I know we're already well into 2026 now, but we're going to talk about another subject that comes up often, and that is how do we not carry past things like the things from last year or old wounds, old pain points, old things that are triggering? How do we not carry that into our next season? We're Kurt and Denette, just two best friends having conversation, and we're glad you joined us.
Yeah,
Really
like and
glad.
follow. It gets the word out, spreads the information. But this is a very real subject.
Yeah.
We hear people all the time talk about, man, I forgive, but it shows up. How do I forgive? How do I forget? I don't want another year carrying the same pain. I don't want the same hurt, this is over and over and over again. And so you see these unresolved things, whatever they are, carrying and dragging into another year. And when we're dragging weight in, we obviously know that weight holds us down. And so we want to learn how to navigate this, how to get through this, how to just enjoy a year, though pain is always going to be behind us.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to hurt us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do we continue when we have unresolved stuff? Like, how do we move forward?
Yeah, what you find in unresolved thing is that there's things underneath the surface that haven't been dealt with.
Yeah.
So it's lingering because we've never really come to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
The issue gets overlooked or bypassed, but never really healed.
Yeah.
And I think that's even a bigger question is how do you heal from wounds that hurt so bad? But what we find is most of the issues that we deal with in marriage are typically buried and not really addressed. Even little things. Think about burying, like your thoughts, your attitudes, your emotions, your feelings, your wants, your desires. You bury. And all of a sudden, this buried pile, now it's too big to be covered anymore. And it's much bigger. And so the idea that, listen, we can't continue to bury these things. We have to talk about them so that we don't carry them.
It makes me think of, the old time cartoons like Tom and Jerry, where like they're cleaning the house and then they just keep sweeping everything under the rug. And then all of a sudden there's this huge pile under the rug and you can see like the house is clean, but you can literally see this mountain that's in the middle of the living room, right? And like so often in our relationships, if we're not cautious, we continue to coexist. We continue to raise the kids. We continue to do the things, check off the boxes, do the grocery shopping, do the laundry, crawl into bed at night exhausted, all the things. But meanwhile, we've got this pile of doo-doo just swept under the rug. I said doo-doo instead of another word. Swept under the rug that everyone else can see.
Yeah.
And often we know it's there, but we just keep walking around it.
Well, and the worst part of this is that pile gets there really unknowingly. So when I start having thoughts of that's all the way she always does that, it's just the way she is, it's just who she is, and I like just continue to whatever, it is what it is, and I think that like I'm being the bigger person by overlooking this.
Mm-hmm.
And you never realize that pile's there until you trip over it. Now, all of a sudden, something big happens, and we rip off this rug that's been carrying all of our problems, and now we're addressing 37 things instead of one.
That's true. Also, there's that, or there's also the other side of that. Let's say I know I've caused offense, or I know I've done something to wound your heart, or vice versa. And instead of actually wanting to get to the root of it, I want to continually put it under the rug and just hope that you don't see it anymore. Like instead of me actually healing your heart or speaking to the pain that I've caused, I'm just going to pretend like you're going to just move past it. Yeah. So it can go both ways. We can intentionally sweep things under the rug, or we can unintentionally sweep things under the rug. It can go both ways. Either way, the rug is there.
Yeah.
And the mound is there.
And the pile is going to be there. And it doesn't just leave.
The pile of doo-doo doesn't leave.
Doo-doo. That's the episode topic on this one. New Year's don't fix old wounds.
Hmm.
New rhythms fix wounds.
Say that again. Say that again.
New Year's don't fix old wounds. New rhythms will be the tool of repair.
You know, we posted at the beginning of the year on one of our socials, we posted like a carousel of about resolutions. And it was resolutions don't fix things, intentionality does, right?
Mhm.
Like our intentions. So, what are your marriage intentions instead of your resolutions? And I thought that was, I don't know, I thought that was pretty good. Just saying,
Want to know who wrote it?
thought it was pretty good. Check it out.
Um, so what does a new rhythm of repair look like?
Yeah.
And this is where, many times you get coaches, you bring people in your world, you do these things because you may ask this question like, well, I don't know how do I get new rhythms of repair? I don't even know what that means. I don't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to go. My spouse wouldn't accept it. Or if I've done the hurting, can I bring a new rhythm of repair to something that I destroyed?
Yeah, I think one of the big points there is how do you know if there is even an old wound? Like, how do you know that there's something that hasn't been healed or fixed? And that comes across in our relationship as like sarcasm, right? Sarcasm, little shots over the bow. Let me just like poke the bear just a little bit, distance, resentment. We end up just pushing our partner further away instead of that connection that we actually longed for. Like we got married, we found this partner, we put this ring on our finger saying for better or for worse. And it sounds so good
Mhm.
for better or for worse. And the worst, I think we think of these big, huge things. Well, man, if, he has to lose a limb, I'm going to be there for you. If this or that happens, but then the resentment and the tension of everyday life get in, and all of a sudden, for worse, doesn't sound so great,
Yeah.
you know?
I think about like those three you said, sarcasm, distance, and resentment.
Mhm.
We're not even talking about passive aggressive behavior
Mm,
because that's another huge one that
manipulation.
when we have wounds, well, we'll start getting passive aggressive really fast.
Mhm.
But when I think about even sarcasm, you know, I I have been around couples long enough now to know when there are major wounds and hurts that they have.
Mhm.
Someone will do something and then a spouse will say, "Oh yeah, probably gonna leave me anyway for some young guy," or probably, "Yeah, that's just what she always does." Like these things, or "Oh, she did it before." Like all these things that are funny, jokingly sarcastic statements
Mm,
to a very traumatic time in someone's life.
mhm.
And what that is not doing, it's not healing a heart. It's reminding of pain. It's deflecting the pain that you have inside to someone else. So maybe they'll hurt worse
Right.
than you hurt. And it's all done out of this, no, I'm just playing. I'm just joking. Sarcasm is awful.
Yeah.
And you can watch it done. It can be done about finances. It can be done about looks. It can be done about, unfaithfulness. There's a lot of ways that you can joke around about this. And all you're doing is deflecting your pain and bringing someone else into that pain with you.
Well, and sarcasm is a form of humor, right? So a lot of couples use sarcasm in their everyday exchanges and how they talk to each other and all of that. And that can be okay if it's something that you both find humor in that's funny, right? But when it's something like it's pressing on a pain point,
Yeah.
that is not okay. We were just watching the other day, we were watching a Saturday Night Live, like the best of or whatever. And they poke fun in all these different scenarios, right? And a lot of it's political humor, but it's only funny because it's partly true. Like, it's only funny because there's an
Mm,
underlying tone of truth to the skit, which makes you like, "Man, that actually happened," or "That actually could happen," or "That's an exaggeration of what actually happened." And so when we poke fun at our partner or on their account when it comes to painful points, it's because there's a little bit of truth there, and that can be
yeah.
really, really hurtful.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So let's look at some like practical tools that we can implement
Mhm.
now so that it can help us get past old wounds. And having a repairing conversation. What does that look like? What hurt me? What I needed
Or need.
or need. That's right. And what would help now?
Yeah.
So, what hurt me? What I need or needed, and what would help right now?
I think that's so amazing to lay it out that way, because often what we think of when we pose this point of not dragging old things into new seasons or old things in from last year into this year, when we look at that, I think what we can tend to believe is, man, you should have forgiven me for XYZ, and so we should never talk about it again. But some things are so big in a marriage, and especially trust, or big breaks, right, in our relationship, can be so big that these questions, it doesn't mean that there's not healing happening, but it means that it's ongoing. Like, this is what hurt me. This is what I needed or need. If you're still rebuilding trust and you're still trying to get close to your partner, it doesn't mean that there's not an ongoing, hey, this is what I need in this moment. When we have these conversations, this is what I need. When we talk about this topic, it would do my heart well for you to approach it like so, you know?
This is being connected to with the emotional intimacy of a couple.
Yeah.
Like if you know what the vibe feels like in your home, you know when it's off, you know when things aren't firing on all cylinders. These are when conversations have to everything needs to stop. Stop. Whoever's been offended. Imaginary conversations demand real conversations. What hurt me? Being able to express that. Listen, when you did this, I felt this way. Most of the time we want to, and you did this, and so this is why you're wrong, and this is the problem, and this is the issue, and you, and you're pointing the finger. And so then a partner, naturally, now I've got to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I can no longer now empathetically get in your pain because you've so casted it on me that now I have to come out swinging to defend myself because I feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
And so being able to express, this is what hurt me, and this is why it hurt me. It made me feel insecure. It made me feel angry. It made me feel bitter. It made me feel not seen. I felt like I was the butt of the joke. Like, man, now I can empathetically get in that pain and we can have a real conversation.
It makes me think of a time when we were first married, and we were at a marriage function with our church, no less. And we were playing like the newlywed game. This is a funny example. Well, it is now.
And I
It
did not
wasn't
know these rules.
it wasn't in the moment. We weren't operating in these rules, especially the first 8 years of marriage. We were at this Sunday school couples event, and we started to play the newlywed game.
Great. I always loved the newlywed game. I'm about it.
And as we're new to the class, I'm an introvert, if you didn't know. He's the extrovert, and
And
he
I
wants
feel
to
like this is
play.
my way for the whole class to get to know me and my humor. This is the moment right here.
And we're at a very, I'd say strict religious group. And one of the questions was, what's the first thing your wife says when she gets angry? So he thinks it would be hysterical to write some expletives on
That she doesn't even say.
that I don't even say. Listen, I say some words. I'm not.
Yeah, she said doo-doo.
I said doo-doo last episode.
Oh, was this
Wait, was that this episode? Oh, this episode. It's been a long day. Anyways, I say some expletives every now and then, but nonetheless, he writes it down. And when I tell you, the blood drained from my face as everyone looks, and some people laughed, but most people's expressions were more like, oh.
I don't think it was the right
It
moment.
wasn't the right moment. Nonetheless, I was the butt of a joke that I didn't find very funny.
Oh, you did tell me what hurt you.
So I had to tell him what hurt me. I needed to tell him what I needed. And I said, what would help now is if you don't ever do that
Yeah,
again. That's a funny
Yeah.
example of this playing out. But so I guess in the long run, we did kind of get there.
We knew the stuff before we knew the stuff.
But
I would say the tone in which you delivered it wasn't good.
it might not have been the best tone.
You did use some expletives in talking about it. So, yeah, I probably need to rework that a little bit,
We'll
but
work that.
here we go. The second part of that is not only having the real conversation, It's an ownership statement.
Mm,
And I feel we see often this is a very hard thing to do,
yeah.
especially when someone is hurt or has done the hurting. It's hard for them to utter the words, I see how my behavior could have affected you.
This is hard for me. You're actually better at this than I am. Now, at the beginning of a relationship, I would not say so. But I am such a people pleaser in my nature to my core that to think that I've hurt someone is it literally just cuts me like and it feels like at the time it's cutting me more so than the hurt I've actually caused him. So what I'll do is I will apologize. I'll take ownership and then I follow it with a word that starts with a B and it's the but. I am so sorry that that hurt you, but. And what I've done in that moment is I have just nulligated all of my apology because I then am making an excuse for my behavior instead of acknowledging how I've made him feel, acknowledging the pain I've caused, acknowledging the disconnection or whatever the issue is. I've null and voided, null and voided, null,
Yeah, the first time you say you nulligated,
nulligated.
and I was going to ask what that meant.
Wait, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, null and void. You
Null
voided
and
it
void.
out.
I
It
voided
was
it
it
out.
was no
You
longer
know
no.
what I'm trying to say.
She nulligated
I
it.
know. Yes. Yeah. Anyways.
But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's a great I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
scheduled repair time. Have a real conversation, work on the ownership statement,
Mhm.
schedule repair time. Healing has to be planned. It
Mm.
is not accidental.
Explain what that looks like a little bit.
I feel like what we see many times in behaviors is this something hurts, it was painful, we had kind of a conversation because we accidentally like we're going to a place and we've got to get on talking grounds real quick.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yep. Okay, okay, good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's just forget about it and move on. These accidental passes where you're just kind of not really addressing, but you're kind of addressing, but someone still feels some kind of way. So when you take time to go, okay, listen, I want to make sure we're not carrying this old wound. Planning time. Hey, can we have 10 to 15 minutes, a real conversation? I need to address the pain that I caused, or I need to address the feeling that I feel. No distractions, not just you and I face to face having a real conversation.
Yeah.
That's intentionality. Now, even for the person who maybe is hurt, I don't have to sweep things under the rug because now we're in a real face to face conversation.
Mhm.
I'm willing to hear your apology. I'm willing to lower myself in humility, realizing I'm not perfect. And I'm willing to address this in a way that we can now stand up and move past a situation,
Mhm.
and that wound doesn't have to continue to hurt us.
And sometimes I think it's important to point out sometimes it doesn't have to happen right at the moment of impact. Sometimes it does need to be addressed right then, but other times, if we know that our tensions are going to be high or elevated and we're not going to actually hear one another, it is okay and it is beneficial to take a moment and break away, especially if it's a wound that happens and it just triggered something maybe from your past to say, "Hey, I feel some kind of way or my emotions were just they're all over the place. I feel myself getting really elevated. I need a few minutes just to myself to think, to pray, to meditate, to sit and take a moment to actually reflect why I feel this way instead of it goes back to those accusatory statements. Instead of you did this, you did that, we're able to reflect on why it hurt us so badly. Sometimes it is because of a wound from our partner, and sometimes it can go all the way back to wounds from our childhood or from the past or things that we brought into our marriage that our partner isn't even responsible for. And yet now they've got the job of unpacking all of that
Yeah.
and the job of helping us process that trauma. Man, when you said that, it reminded me of this. And so it flared something up in me. Can we talk about that? So it is okay to take a moment as long as we're communicating about that moment. Hey, I kind of got triggered. I'm not really happy right now because of XYZ, but I need a minute to process it. That's okay. That's not distance.
Yeah.
That that's taking a break and that's okay.
there's wisdom that we gain when we get silent with the Lord.
Yeah.
And that's where a key component of all of this is being silent with the Lord and really looking within yourself.
Right.
We just saw this play out in a couple. The sessions was tense, to say the least.
Very tense.
It was just a little, we're working some things. When you're working hard muscles and you got old thing, it's not always free flowing. So we're having to process, we're having to work through. They left and it was still just, you could just, sometimes you leave, yay, and sometimes you leave really contemplative and thinking and, I got to really do some work. And when I followed up and spoke with one of the individuals, the ride home was quieter. They got home, they did the stuff with the kids that they needed to do. The next morning, he went in to work by himself, spent some time with the Lord, and the Lord did not reveal everything that was wrong with his partner.
Shocking.
The Lord revealed some areas in his own heart that he was battling in. He was able to deal with that and then reconnect with his spouse in a way that they both had been longing for. But it was not the other person. So I would encourage you, like, in this, take some time and distance. It's not so that you can put together a game plan and a war strategy so when you see face to face again. This is a real self-reflective moment to go, where am I feeling some kind of way that's causing me to react or respond in a way that may be detrimental to my marriage?
Yeah. It's important to know we live in a broken world. We live in real life, right? So we can still deeply love each other and also have to be intentional to continue to work on a relationship. I think it is grossly misunderstood that if our marriage is amazing, we won't have tension. I think that is something a lot of young couples feel when they first get married. Man, we're arguing, something must not be right. There's going to be tension. And so I think realizing we can deeply love each other and still need intentional healing is actually freeing to know. Because I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And we're together. So we're not going to be perfect together. And so I think it's so important to know we can deeply love each other and still need intentional healing.
Boy, that line in itself, because I feel like we do. When there's conflict,
Yeah.
I can think of times in our life when there's conflict, you almost want to hit the love pause button until we figure this thing out. Then I may re-engage.
Right.
And I am very thankful that we have learned to love and labor through conflict. It really does make us better.
It does. It does. And labor is not always easy. Sometimes it's a little painful.
Is work.
Labor is work, but it brings about beautiful, beautiful blessings.
Once again, we just want to thank you for spending the time with us. Remember, like, follow, and subscribe as we continue to push information out. We want to help couples thrive in 2026.